My name is Gerry King, but all my friends call me Gerry. I was actually diagnosed at 55. The problem started when I was about 53. I was having conversations with the wife. I couldn't remember what we were talking about. Probably asking the same question for 30, 40 times a day. I'd arrange nights out with my children to go for a McDonald's or a milkshake. And on the night in question, when we were going to go out, they'd all come down all dressed up, ready to go. I had no idea what they were talking about, not a clue. And my wife also said that my attitude was changing. I was becoming a lot more belligerent because I used to be quite a laid-back, gentle kind of guy. Like nothing fazed me, nothing bothered me. But according to my wife and her dad, I was getting a lot more argumentative.
And you were in work at the time?
Working full-time for the local council in the architects department. Yep.
And were things going wrong at work?
Or? Oh, you could see that, yeah, definitely. Probably for the last 2 years of my working life, I spent 8 hours a day asking the boy next to me to give me a hand with my computer. I use this program called AutoCAD, which helps you to draw up the designs for the houses. And for some reason, I could switch on the computers in the morning, but I just forgot how to use the actual program itself. So I had to ask Ian, who sat beside me, on many occasions to help me sort out problems that I'd created myself. Like, I also had a procedure. Part of my job was to work with the council OTs, occupational therapists. And what I would do is normally I would send them a memo, a pre-typed memo, basically saying, "Thank you for your email. I'll meet you at your client's address on such and such a time on such and such a date." I was getting to the stage where I was going out to meet the OTs. I would sit outside the clients' houses for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. Nobody turns up. I go back to the office, phone the OT, ask them where they've been, and find out that actually I hadn't sent the memo. I'd put the dates in my diary, but I actually hadn't sent the memo to the OT saying that I would meet them.
So, did anybody at work kind of say something's up?
Absolutely not. Actually, the only people I noticed something was up was as I said, my wife and family members at first, like, and then I started noticing problems with my driving and things like that. Like, so, my Alzheimer's affects my visual awareness, and I was having trouble parking the car between the lines in a parking brake. Just couldn't get in there straight at all. I was always squint, and eventually got to the stage where I had to ask the wife to park the car for me. And then there's one day I was parking in this car park, and I smashed into this car beside me. Didn't even hear nothing, didn't even realise I'd done it. Never heard nothing, never felt nothing, never saw nothing. And it wasn't until the woman in the car that I'd hit got out and started screaming and shouting at me that I'd realised that actually something had happened.
So there must have come a point when somebody said, "You need to go and see, you need some help, we need to know what's going on."
Yep. My wife suggested I should go and see my GP. And he was just getting tired of all the questions I was asking and all the conversations I was forgetting. So she thought I was maybe just a bit stressed or depressed. So I thought, well, that's fair enough. I mean, I was in quite a stressful job, to be honest, mate. So we went to the GPs, explained what was going on. And he also thought, well, you might just be a bit stressed, a bit depressed, like. So what he did, he put me through a short memory test in the GP surgery, and I actually passed that. And said, "Mr. King, you've passed." He says, "But the results from your test aren't as high as what I would expect for someone of your IQ."
And what then?
From then, he said that he still suspected I might have just still be depressed or a bit stressed out. He says, "I'll refer you to the local psychiatrist, and we'll just take it from there." So I think it was about 3 months later, I was referred to, I got my meeting with the psychiatrist, went through a very similar test again, but this time it was slightly more in depth, and I failed quite miserably. And that's when they realised that actually there was something more going on rather than just stress or depression, like.
And did you have brain scans or?
Yep. After that, I was put under the care of a neurologist, a psychologist, and a specialist nurse at Victoria Hospital. And over 18 months, I was kind of scanned and poked and prodded and tested. And then at the age, as I say, at the age of 55, I was diagnosed with young onset Alzheimer's disease.
How was that, being told that you had Alzheimer's?
It was a shock. It was a shock. probably like everyone else, I thought Alzheimer's was a natural part of ageing. I mean, I was only 55. How could somebody 55 have Alzheimer's disease? I was quite shocked. And to be honest, it kind of had a huge detrimental effect, not just on myself, but on my family as well. Through the diagnosis, I had to retire from my work. I lost my driving licence, and that was a massive, massive shock. I lost all my friends, 32 years of work colleagues, and just close friends who I'd known for over 30 years just stopped coming round.
Why?
I think because there's such a stigma associated with dementia that people are just scared of it. People only see end-stage dementia, and that's all you hear and you see advertised when people are looking to get money. It's always end-stage. And yes, that stage does come, unfortunately. However, there's also a mid and a start, actually a start and a mid stage in dementia, which is pretty much normal, really. But that's a side that people don't see that often. And I think it's scared them, like.
So how does the illness affect you day to day?
I have visual awareness problems. I have difficulties judging distances and widths of openings, so I constantly bang my elbows, trip over curbs, again bang my knees, sort of thing. Anything that's patterns, which are quite bold, they jump out at me like holograms. So it can be quite confusing at times. Memory-wise, is a shocker. I mean, it's quite funny because I go out quite a lot just to keep myself busy, and I do a lot of activism with dementia. And I'll come in at night time, and the wife will go, "How was your day?" "Oh, great, great." "What did you do?" "I have no idea." And so, so yeah.
But I mean, you're a very busy guy. You have lots of appointments. How do you keep track of all of those things?
With great difficulty, I'm afraid. I use technology quite a bit. I use my mobile phone for keeping all the dates on. I use Alexa to set reminders, which is linked to my calendar, so that if I have something on, say like tomorrow, Alexa will actually tell me the day today that I've got something on tomorrow. And it'll tell me an hour beforehand and remind me 10 minutes beforehand as well, sort of thing, like so.
You've told me stories about sending your sons out to buy things from the shop.
Yes. There was, yeah, I no longer get to handle family finances anymore. I used to be the person who handled all the finances, because I kind of managed the money and my wife spent all the money. And then suddenly that kind of all changed. I was going to the shops, forgetting what I was needing to buy, and would end up buying 30 or 40 quid's worth of crisps and sweets rather than bread and food and stuff that you needed. Like, there's been times where I've sent my son to the shop to get bread and juice, and then 10 minutes later I'll send my daughter down to the shop to get bread and juice, and then meet each other in the shop.
How do your family react now to you and your strange ways?
They love it. To be honest, there's a lot of laughter about it. We find it funny. I do a lot of silly things. They take the mickey out of me. They also take advantage of me. They claim that I've offered them money when I haven't, and like that sort of thing. Yeah.
But I mean, you have an ability to laugh about all of this, and yet people often say, "Oh, Alzheimer's, it's tragic. It's an awful thing."
I'm always quite sad to hear that, because it's not. Yes, Alzheimer's or any kind of dementia, it's a long-term terminal illness. However, it could be years and years before I get to an end stage. And during the mild to moderate stage, I can actually quite live a normal life. And it's actually opened up a lot of different doors for me. Doors that I would never have thought of even opening when I was working full time.
Yeah, I mean, you've got very involved with dementia
Yeah.
activism
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
one. Why?
Firstly, and probably on more on a personal basis, I got involved with it because it was therapeutic for me. I found it really, really, really good to be able to talk to people about my dementia, let them know what it was like to live with dementia, the problems that you face and all that sort of stuff. And then I also got to realise that through that process that it's a very not very thought of disease. People just don't. In fact, most medical staff don't even consider it to be a terminal illness. They still consider it to be a part of growing old, which it certainly is not like.
But you and I have been handed a terminal diagnosis.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. Nobody's ever actually sort of explored that with me. Nobody's ever actually asked me how I feel about it. How do you feel about the future?
I don't worry about it at all. I don't think about it a lot. I'm lucky because I have a lot of good friends around me now, like new friends. I'm part of an amazing peer support group who look after me and my wife, and we also look after many other people who are living with dementia and their wives, husbands and families. As you mentioned before, I do a lot of activism, and that keeps me so busy. To be honest, I don't have time to worry, and I don't worry about it.
But in that peer support group, I can think of people who I realise over the last 6 months have deteriorated.
Yeah.
I mean, we have those examples
Oh, yes,
around us.
absolutely.
Does that not bother you?
I do think about it, and I have to be honest. Yeah, actually, I do think about it because I see people in our group who have whose condition has deteriorated quite a lot, considerable, especially over lockdown. And you do think, oh wow, yeah, that's quite worrying in that respect. But I think that's a very hard question actually, because I mean, I think because we realise what's going on, and we can see it actually happening, it doesn't feel as bad. I don't know if that makes sense at all, like.
So you actually know what's happening.
Yes. Yeah.
You know the process.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think that helps and makes it a bit easier because you can actually see, you know what's going on. You can see the process happening. You can see the changes in people. And although I say everybody with dementia is different, I think the stage-wise we're all pretty much going to be going through the same sort of thing, like. And I don't worry too much about it, like.
You are noted as a guy with a big laugh, big personality,
I bet,
big
yes.
laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Are there darker moments?
Oh, I've had a few darker moments, yeah. Probably one of the darkest moments was when I was actually just diagnosed. I spent about 5 weeks sitting in my house, looking at four walls. I had to get up in the morning. There was no reason to get up out of bed in the morning. I'd lost all my self-confidence, feeling of self-worth. And I have to be honest, I was pretty much at the stage where I was going to kill myself. Like, yeah, definitely. And it was only when I met an amazing woman called Ruth, who was doing the Dementia Friendly 5 initiative. I met her, and we started going around doing dementia awareness presentations. And I started building up my confidence again, started giving me a reason to get out of bed in the morning, and it just changed my life completely, to be honest.
Completely?
Completely, yeah, because I think if it hadn't been for Ruth and the fact that there was something to do, and for the fact that through Ruth, we also started up the support group Stand, and I think if those two things hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here now.
So what would you want to say to people about dementia? About Alzheimer's?
I would say that it's definitely not the end of the world, that's for sure. It's a big change, but it's just a different change. I think if you want to, it's you can live a very good life with dementia and Alzheimer's. It takes a bit of work. It's not easy. It's not saying it's going to be all Tweety birds and flowers and roses, because it's not. However, you put a bit of effort in, and you'll get a lot of reward out of it. That's for sure. Like.